man. If it goes live, it goes live. I ain't.
Welcome to the Sportz Phenz Show. The show where, just like you, we can't get enough sports.
The 47-year wait is over! Nuggets win! The Denver Broncos have taken Super Bowl 50.
Now here's your hosts, Arthur Knight, Larry Perkins, and Austin Sorensen.
1-0 Rapids. They are champions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to the Sportz Phenz. I am Arthur Knight, and with me is Mr. LP Larry Perkins.
What up, bro?
What's going down, man? We had a little bit of a hiatus last week, holiday weekend. But we're back. We're back, doing our sports thing, man. And we're doing it live here at So High Cafe, featuring Viper Pit Barbecue. Come on down and say what's up to Vinny. It's at 4300, right? 4300 West Alameda. Come on down and get you some burn-ins, some homemade mac and cheese, man. Vinny's always got his whole foot in the recipe, man. So come on down and get you some food. You can also come down and watch us live record. So come on down, 4300 West Alameda in Denver. All right, Larry. So the finals are set, right?
Yes.
We now know who is going to be there. Which one? When you want to talk about the West? You want to talk about the East first? The conference finals. What do you want to do?
We can talk about the East last.
I figured you might want to do the East to get it over with. You know what I mean? But okay, you want to do the East last? We'll start with the West. The Minnesota Timberwolves get embarrassed on their home court, which further proves to me, my guy, I've been saying this since the Nuggets lost, that the Nuggets just ran into a brick wall of energy, and Minnesota finally ran into a team that had more energy. Dallas, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Dallas. Don't get me wrong. They played a very good Western Conference Finals, and they beat, Minnesota hands down. They beat them. But they also didn't play as much basketball as any other team that is currently playing, including Boston, in the second round, or in the third, or in the conference finals. They didn't even make it to the playoffs last year. If everybody remembers, Dallas tanked on purpose a couple of games and would have made it to the playoffs last year, but tanked a few games to miss and get the pick that they currently, what's his name, Lively. Yeah. So I mean, their gamble worked. I can't front. You can't knock them. And if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Clearly, but to be fair, they hadn't played as much basketball as anybody else, right? Yeah. So when Minnesota ran up against them after playing 7 games against the champs, 4 or 6 or 7 hard-fought games, very physical games that they had to play in order to beat the Nuggets, they came up against a team that was as young, if not younger, but had that good mix of older talent, veteran talent to bolster their team and get them through. And Minnesota kind of ran up against that and was like, oh, well, they thought they was just going to roll right. Minnesota as a team, real quick, they really get themselves gassed up about themselves, don't they?
Like Memphis.
Man, they could be another Memphis, my dude. I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly how it looks to me as a fan. Mm-hmm. It's like, man, they get all gassed up and gaslight themselves, and then they get whooped. Like, that Game 7 could have easily went to the Nuggets had the Nuggets not been tired. Like, literally, anybody who knows basketball knows that you could visibly see the Nuggets team, the entire team, was gassed.
Yeah, watching that series, the Denver, Minnesota, it was strictly, you could say, the energy level. They was just a team that was just happy to be here. That's how Minnesota was. It was like, ooh, we got y'all, and stuff like that. But in the Western Conference Finals, the Mavericks have a good mix of veteran star players young role players.
Yep.
Like PJ Washington, it's a good mix. Just like I always say, like the 2011 Mavericks. With Jason Kidd and Jason
good mix.
Terry.
Yep.
They had Dirk Nowitzki as the spearhead.
Right.
And then you had that mixture with Jason Kidd. And just like right now, you have Luka. But a little difference, you have Kyrie is more than,
I would say Kyrie's he's not the spearhead, but he's definitely what connects the spearhead to the spear itself.
Yeah,
like,
right.
in all honesty, like without him, they don't get past the second round.
They don't.
Like, they really don't. But you're right. They have an abundance of young talent. They have a great coach and Kidd. Who seems like, if they can get past Boston, might win his second championship in Dallas, one as a player, now as a coach. But man, it seemed like this is what it seemed like. Minnesota came up against a team that could play just as hard-nosed defense as them. Now, Gobert, the rest of the Minnesota team, they're tough-nosed. He got exposed, eliminated, and he is such a dirty, dirty, dirty player. Like, his moving picks are just atrocious, and I don't know how he doesn't get called for them every single time. This man is constantly like bear hugging, or when he goes to do a pick, he'll stick his arm in the chest or his hand in the chest to the player if the player's going around him. Like, I don't see how the refs do not see this. But he is so dirty. He is so dirty, and I don't see this Minnesota team, even though they made it this far, you watch how quickly, because just the ownership and all of that, this team is about to be dismantled. There's no way they keep Cat. There's no way they keep him. And if they do, that's stupid, because they have Reed. And Reed played way better in these playoffs. Not just this series, these playoffs. He has played way better than Cat, and they play the same position. He's the sixth man of the year. Cat is kind of, he folded. He played solid in this series against the Mavericks.
It's going to be very interesting to see what Minnesota does. Do they?
Man, they're going to have to trade Cat.
Do they put a Band-Aid on it, or are they just going to blow it up?
They're going to have to trade Cat, or they're going to lose Edwards. They're going to have to trade Cat, or they're going to lose Edwards, and they're going to have to get rid of Gobert too. They need a center that can do more than catch the ball in the low post. I mean, yeah, he is the defensive player of the year. What is it, 4 times, 5 times? But, I mean, to a certain extent, he got exposed by the Nuggets. Like, the Nuggets exposed him. A smaller team. The Mavs are a smaller team.
Right. They
exposed him, and they exposed Cat. So anyway, I didn't want to get too deep into Minnesota, but the bottom line is they ran into a team that could play just as dirty as them, just as physical as them, and weren't tired. Because I do believe my Nuggets can be just as physical, because they have done it. They did it last year.
Well, yeah.
But they played more basketball. They were tired. Murray is still, coming off of injuries. KCP had injuries. They were injury riddled, and and I'm not making excuses. They lost. They lost the series, period. I do see them coming back next year even better, depending on, we'll get into free agency here soon. I want to talk about who our teams can get to bolster their, we have to be realistic though. We're not trying to be these type of homer fans where like, we could trade to get this guy. And it's like, no, that's not going to work.
Everything has to match up.
It has to match.
Salary-wise.
Yeah, like there's rules.
And I don't consider myself a capologist by any means whatsoever.
Neither do I, but we at least know most of the rules. Because we've discussed it though.
Right.
We've discussed realistic trades that any team could make. But back to Minnesota v. Mavericks. It just looked like the Mavericks were a hungrier team. Even though Luka was very beat up, he still carried that team. Man, in that game 5, that dude couldn't miss. Like, he was shooting it like blindfolded. Snoop Dogg was looking at him like, oh my God, is this dude possessed right now? What is he doing? But he lit up Minnesota. But Minnesota was also talking smack. They were talking smack, and they came up against a team that could play them in the same manner that they were able to play. And the games were called as evenly as possible. Like some Minnesota fans will cry talking about Luka was getting all the calls. I was like, so was Edwards. And Edwards was getting all the calls when they played the Nuggets. It's like that's the nature of the NBA. You have to play through that stuff, right?
Yeah. In order for Minnesota to take that next step, I hate to take the LeBron James, little thing. He needs some help.
He does. He had a little bit of help. They have a little bit of help. He's got Naz Reid. They do have McDaniels. Like, they have a good core. They just need a better center. They need a two-way center that doesn't just block shots. They need a center that can actually spread the floor like the Nuggets have, like even the Lakers have. Like, they can spread the floor with AD. ADs can hit threes, right? So they can spread the floor, but you can't spread the floor with Minnesota. So what does that do? What does that do? That takes opportunities away, right?
Yeah, they're just going to have to do a little, because I think they can get that second piece.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They can get that second piece. And it's up to the front office from Minnesota to be shrewd operators.
Well, they're going to need some help. They're going to need some help, or Edwards needs some help, but I don't think he's even going to stay. I don't know what his contract issue or situation is, but
it's a pundit on the front.
Your computer is very proud of itself.
But it's up to the franchise to make sure to keep him happy.
For sure.
And help him stay.
For sure. Be careful now. You're going to pull your microphone out.
It's a makeshift.
Anyway, so now we have Dallas going to the Western Conference, or excuse me, the NBA Finals, representing the West. But let's talk about the East and how easily Boston really – I mean, there's not much to talk about. Boston pretty much rolled through Indiana like they were they junior varsity team. I mean, they did have some injuries. Indiana's a good team. I like Indiana. One of my good friends that I worked with when I was in television, before this season started, I told him to watch out for that team. And he's a Pacers fan. He was like, man, they picked up Bruce Brown. They did this. They did that. And then they made some moves in the middle of the season, at the trade deadline, got Pascal Siakam and all of that stuff. So, and they made a push, man. You made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Final with that team. That's a young team, very young team. Boston going to be seeing them a lot coming down the line.
Well, they better work on that defense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're young.
I know.
They're a young team. And I don't think they have any defensive specialists on that team.
I like their front court with Miles Turner, and Siakam.
Yeah. Well, if they can keep Siakam, he is an unrestricted free agent this year. So they kind of traded. They kind of tried to pull the LA Rams. They traded to get. Hey, they almost got it. That would have been a pretty good series, I would say. I think this series is going to be kind of boring to a certain extent because I do not think the Mavs have enough firepower. Even though it took Boston 6 years to get where they're at, they are a seasoned team, and they should have their center back, right?
Porzingis, yeah.
Yeah, so that gives a whole nother host of problems.
It's not gonna be nice.
It's not. I don't foresee Dallas winning more than one game, and that might be Game 4.
In my heart, I hope Dallas can do the upset, but realistically, I don't know. I mean, I love to be wrong, but
you and me both. But I ain't gonna tell my homeboy Rob that he's gonna watch this and he's gonna be mad at me. He's gonna say something at work.
Rob.
I promise. He knows. He already knows what I truly believe is going to happen. I think Boston sweeps them. I do not think the NBA will allow that to happen. But if it was real, game by game, I do not see Dallas being able to beat them. Boston has waves upon waves of guards and small forwards that they can throw at Luka. The only thing that they're not going to be able to slow down or stop is Kyrie. You can't. He's fresh. He's not injured. He didn't play a lot of basketball last season.
The thing is, Kyrie is a big shot maker.
He is. So you got to make sure the games aren't close at all.
So I think right there, the Boston Celtics, they're gonna out of the two, they're gonna be focused more on Kyrie. Given his history, hitting big shots in 2016 with Cleveland and stuff like that. So they're gonna be focused on their defense. Gonna be focused on Kyrie, and they said we're gonna let Luka do his thing, which he will.
Well, hopefully Dallas can stay hot. Because really, they won that Minnesota series from beyond the arc and with jump shots.
They bench, man. They bench have to play every game. They bench can't take no. That's all they have.
Yeah, I mean, Boston has a bench too. Like Boston's bench could be ding near starters on.
Well, I'm just saying for it to be competitive.
No, that's fair.
Their bench have to come to play every game because if they bench don't come to play, they getting slaughtered.
Yep.
I'm sorry to say that.
They're gonna get worked.
They're gonna, and it's sad. You know what I'm saying?
It is. I mean, they have a chance. They have a chance.
Everybody have a puncher's chance.
They have
Mike
a
Tyson
chance.
Say?
Yeah, everybody got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
That's.
Yeah, and that's the truest ever spoken. And Boston better watch out too. They better not go in too cocky.
They know
they're known for going in cocky.
They read the clippings.
They're kind of like Minnesota.
They read the clippings and they feel themselves.
This is the first year I would say that Boston actually, with the exception of when they let one slip with Miami. I mean, they let one slip in every series, really. Yeah. And they may let one slip in this series. They've been beaten at home. Didn't the Pacers beat them in Game 1 at home?
Game 2.
Was it Game 2?
It was Game 2.
Excuse me. Well, they still beat them at home, regardless.
Yeah,
they beat them at home. So it's not that it can't be done. Dallas does have a puncher's chance, but they're going to have to play perfect basketball like they did against Minnesota. Because they did. They played beautiful basketball. I actually enjoyed watching Dallas, and not just because they were beating Minnesota. Excuse me. For me as a basketball fan, I wouldn't say I'm a purist, but I don't like that one-on-one solo ball crap.
I am. I'm a purist. I don't believe in that. I believe in team. I believe in systems.
Well, I wouldn't say that I'm a purist because I think there's a hybrid. I think you do need that killer to go one-on-one at the end, to keep the you need that Kobe, you need that MJ, you need
exactly.
that,
That's what I was saying. That's what Phil Jackson said when he was interviewed.
Right.
Because, he has the best system probably ever. But he said you need that. You need that player that's going to break that system and do his own thing like Michael did.
And kill the game.
And kill the game.
Take over the game.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you need that killer. And Boston has 5 of them.
Wow.
And Dallas has 2.
I just know, just watching the Celtics, Jaylen Brown is their killer. I wouldn't. I mean, Tatum is nice, but
he is a killer though, man. He can do it. He can do it.
Yeah,
it's not that he does it consistently, but he can do it. He's not a consistent killer. He's like Murray to me. Murray's a killer, but he's not he has that killer mentality, I should say. But you're right. They're not like killers.
They're the type of players that you have to co-opt into, to getting.
Yeah, you got to get them angry, or you got to get them,
And they can, and they can excel in that.
Right.
They can do good.
They typically do excel in that. For sure, I know Murray does. You don't really want to piss off Murray.
There's some players that you get into their head and they horrible.
Yep. Those are weak players, though. Those are weak players.
I was going to say one, but, from Sacramento. Your guy.
From Sacramento?
The Sacramento's guard that you don't like.
Oh, who, De'Aaron Fox? I like Fox.
Yeah, but you say.
Nah, not him. Not him. Now, D'Angelo Russell for the Lakers, yes. That dude chirped way too much, and he's good, but he's not great. But anyways, I've got Boston in 5. Truly, I think they could do it in 4, but I think Dallas actually wins the game. I don't think the NBA, especially how far they've put out, and I hate to say that because it kind of makes it seem like the NBA is like the WWE, but I mean, when you have a product, and when's the last NBA game that was played? What, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and they're not playing until Thursday?
Right.
So they're gonna need this. They're gonna need this finals to.
I'm just praying that maybe Dallas can just sneak us,
get it to 6.
Yeah.
If they get it to 6, then Dallas has a chance to win it.
I'm not giving Boston anything.
That's-
I'm not even giving them a prediction.
You're not even picking the Mavs. Just pick the Mavs.
Yeah, Mavs in 6.
All right, Mavs in 6.
Because 7, they ain't nothing going down in Boston in Game 7. Nah, 6.
Hey, it could happen. It could happen. Miami beat Boston in Boston in the Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Championships last year, did they not?
Yeah.
So it can happen.
That defense, though, that Miami defense.
It depends on how much Kool-Aid Boston drinks of themselves, to be honest with you.
But they known for that, though.
Dallas seems very even-keeled. If they come in with the same mindset that they did against Minnesota, they're not going to talk smack until after the game is won or the game is put away. Because Minnesota was talking smack before they could put the games away.
Yeah.
But Dallas didn't start talking smack until like they knew they had Minnesota where they wanted them.
That's smart, though.
That's what true champions do. You don't talk smack until after the game. Like, oh, let's talk now. Let's talk now after we just whooped Joe behind. Let's talk now. We don't want to talk before the game. Before the game, you never know what's going to happen. And even the sun shines on the dog's ass some days, man. Like, anybody could win at any point in time.
Damn, we cussing now?
Ass ain't a cuss word. With your sensitive ears. They say ass on the radio, homie. Like, they just don't say stuff that you normally say.
Damn, I'm going to have to start listening to radio more.
Yeah, they say ass on the radio like over airwaves, not even just like in
I'm going to have to look. I wonder what other kind of words they can use now on FCC.
I believe.
What about booty?
I believe booty can be used. It depends on the context. Bitchin' can be used depending on the context. Okay. I mean, there's quite a few. I mean, we live in a very, very open society these days, man. There's quite a bit you can get away with saying on television and radio these days. Wow. I don't want to get into, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but you can get away with a lot of stuff. Speaking of getting away with a lot of stuff, it looks like there is going to be a lot of maybe not top tier or star players, but there's at least the top, let's say, 4 players. Let's go 3 because Tobias Harris is good. But he's not
tweener,
great. Yeah, he's that second tier. But the top tier, most sought are going to be the most sought after players, especially if they don't take their player options, is LeBron James and Paul George, and then you do have Klay Thompson as an unrestricted free agent. Yeah. Coming into this playoffs.
But this
offseason.
This is a good free agency. When you have your top guys already. This one right here.
Yes. I agree.
Like Nuggets.
I agree.
Lakers,
championship run teams, this is the best.
Now, if you don't have no good players, you can just bypass this one.
Yeah, if you're rebuilding you have a young team.
You can give us some of
like
yours.
San Antonio. Like, you've got 2 picks coming up anyway. Don't worry about this free agency.
You good.
Yeah. No, I feel you, but like teams that literally like Minnesota.
That just need some tweaking.
Minnesota, Denver, Lakers,
Phoenix.
Phoenix. All of these teams that were in that first round, second round, not the play-in teams, except for, probably the Lakers. Because they did actually make it to the Western Conference Finals last year with almost the same team. So that's why I throw them in there. I know a lot of my Denver fam is going to give me crap about that, but that's okay. Truth is truth. And I stand on truth. But right now, LeBron James and Paul George are going to be the most sought after if they do not take their player options. And let me ask you this. Do you, as a Lakers fan, and I've asked you this already, but do you truly want LeBron James to stay as a Laker?
Not really.
All right, now why?
Well, being a Laker fan all my life,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying, this has never happened for as like a player dictating and just being passive aggressive. I never seen nothing, even with Shaq and Kobe, you know, Kobe and Powell, even during the Magic Showtime era. We never, I mean, probably behind the scenes.
Mhm.
They,
Well,
they-
it was a little different. We've had that discussion before. It
Right.
was a little
But-
different with free agency back then.
back then, but I'm just saying me
Mhm.
now as a Laker fan, it's different for me, and I'm not feeling that vibe. I'm not
Okay.
feeling a player sending messages and showing at other teams games and
What
supporting.
about lack of accountability?
that too?
Because he seems to blame shift.
I mean, it's just his presence in Lakerland is different.
Mhm.
It's from what we are accustomed of. We're accustomed to our star player taking the lead. Like this is on me. We lose. This is on me.
So
know
you're
what I'm saying?
hoping he does not pick up his option?
I hope so.
Because I
just-
kind of feel now this is just speculation at best. This is just from me reading reports, knowing LeBron. You know, I've been a fan forever since he came into this league. But just knowing like his typical attitude towards things, his typical way he does things, I think he right now is holding the Lakers hostage to draft his son at 17. What say you?
it's not just me. It's true, but it's the vibe around the team. Everybody, everybody knows that, to get LeBron, it's a price tag. It's something attached to that.
Right.
And my thing is, are the Lakers willing to, play? Are they willing to, give him what he needs?
Well, they've already given him the reins. And he's let him down to one season with a championship. We'll give him that. But the last 2 seasons they've been a play-in team,
Yeah.
right? I mean that's a fact.
And one season they didn't even make the playoffs.
Exactly. So they went championship, didn't make the playoffs, play-in team. Is that correct? And
that's-
all of that was
won't cut it.
orchestrated by
Him.
LBJ.
Him. Yeah.
Okay. And that you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. That's from a Lakers fan. That's not from the Nuggets fan. That's from the Lakers fan.
Well, the thing
I agree wholeheartedly. I not that I want LeBron James out of basketball, but I think his time has come.
Well, the thing is, next year, if he decides to come, it'd be his 7th year. Do you know the Lakers, if he come, will have 7 different teams in 7 years?
Yep.
That is ridiculous.
Which is a first for them.
Exactly. We need continuity.
Yeah.
We can't be
Lakers used to be the epitome of a continuity.
with a little spending there,
Hey, I mean, I always say they buy their championships, but that's a part of their continuity. Is their ownership is
rebuild.
always
We don't-
willing.
we don't rebuild.
Exactly, they're
We
always
retool.
willing to pay to keep their team where they need to be.
It's certain teams that. And I ain't trying to get off track, but it's a
No,
certain,
you're good.
It's a certain, and we stick to basketball though, but it's a certain teams that I see that mirror us that kind of make you feel like a big daddy,
Yeah,
big proud, like
or
Miami.
big brother.
big daddy, big brother. But yeah, I like Miami because Miami is they're like, I always call Miami the East Coast Lakers
Okay.
because if you see how when Riley went there,
Yeah, but I would say Boston is
They-
probably the opposite of
No,
Lakers in the
they-
East.
no, Boston
They have as
rebuilds.
many, if not more, championships.
but Boston rebuilds. They don't retool.
Okay, that's fair.
only
That's fair.
time-
They have had down seasons.
Only time they retooled is, well, not really, when they went all in 08 to get, what was that? Now I already have Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen. That's the only time Boston went in like that. Other times, like during the 80s and stuff, they drafted. Boston always, did it through the draft.
Well, I mean, again, during that time, during the era before the big three went to Boston, free agency wasn't like that. It wasn't. You didn't put together a big three or a big two, or players weren't trying to play. Michael Jordan wasn't like, you know who I really want on our team this year?
No, you'll never see that.
Let's get Ewing. He never, ever, ever, that never happened. It was a different time. It was a different time. And even like the Pacers weren't like, we should try to take Scottie Pippen from the Bulls in order to beat the Bulls.
That's a good question because a friend of mine asked me, when did that start? And I'll tell them honestly, by watching sports all these years, it was the moment Shaquille O'Neal picked up the phone and called Karl Malone and Gary Payton to come to L.A.
Oh, yeah, and try to win. That was one of the worst Laker teams ever.
No, no. One of the one of the.
They didn't win.
No, but they went to the finals. I think they
didn't win.
That 2012 team probably was the worst with Dwight Howard, Steve Nash, and
that one was pretty bad too.
Yeah, then they didn't do nothing with that team.
Yeah.
They didn't do nothing with that team.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they did go to the finals with the other team he was talking about, but that they still didn't win, and that was a terrible brand of basketball.
Neither team won. I mean, it was horrible. And I was in L.A. at the time.
Right?
No, I wasn't. But anyway.
All right. Anyway.
Yeah. But the thing is, Phil Jackson and Gary Payton bumped heads so many times. Because the thing is, your guard have to be in the system, and Gary Payton was not that great of a shooter.
He was a street ball.
Yeah, he was
a street baller. But boy, that defense though.
Ooh-wee.
The glove was no joke.
Ooh-wee.
Even Michael Jordan, even though Michael Jordan doesn't, he'll still clown him a little bit because he's still, Michael Jordan. But I guarantee you, Michael Jordan has a hefty respect for the glove.
He do.
Because he didn't shut him down, but Jordan had to work.
Because Michael Jordan said his top 3 defenders on him was Mitch Richmond and Gary Payton and Michael Cooper.
Yep.
I was like, those some great defenders.
So he's got love for the glove, man. The glove was serious. And as a passer, like the Rain Man
he wouldn't stop
did all of them dunks. Well, I mean, that was he was a street baller.
Boy,
that's what he did.
Because they see the clip of him when the Sonics was playing the.
I would have taken Gary Payton on the Nuggets any time of the day. I would have taken him. I don't care that he can't shoot. I don't care that he can't shoot. He's shutting down your number one scorer. He's shutting him down, and then he's passing the ball to a dunker. Like Sean Kemp. Sean Kemp was on the receiving end of some of the most beautiful and prolific passes from Gary Payton I've ever seen in my life. Even to this day, you don't see too many. I mean, Joker has some pretty nice passes. Even LeBron James has had some pretty good, finesse passes and stuff like that. I'll give credit where credit's due, but boy, didn't nobody thread that needle like Gary Payton or throw that lob like Gary Payton, boy. Like Sean Kemp was above the rim because of Gary Payton. So,
because I was reading a thing about your Nuggets, and I don't think they talking about Michael Porter Jr. might get dealt.
That's everybody. That's more fans. Right. That's more fans than that is actuality. He did fade a little bit in the finals last year. Yeah. He faded in the second round this year.
They're gonna break up your start. I don't think they should, but they're gonna break up that starting 5.
I don't think they are.
You don't think so?
No. I think KCP. If KCP doesn't pick up his option, there are options out there to replace him with. Now, I'll miss KCP. I really, really will. I do not think that his defense is replaceable. But if let's say Paul George does not pick up his option, now the Nuggets can't afford to pay him $44 million or whatever. They're only going to if the Nuggets do want to sign a top tier like Paul George or even Klay Thompson, unless they give him a hometown discount because they both got their bag already, right?
Right.
The Nuggets will have to deal somebody from the starting lineup.
That's
and MPJ is probably the lowest man out, the odd man out. They traded to get AG. And even though AG did fade a little bit in this second round,
he's a keeper though.
He's your best defender.
Yeah.
KCP is probably the best on-ball defender, but overall team and overall defender, AG is the best defender the Nuggets have. That nobody can argue that. Hands down, he is the best defender. He can guard the 3 through the 5. Sometimes you can even put him on a bigger 2 guard. He's the more valuable asset. Yes, MPJ has a higher ceiling because he's younger. But I think, and this is just opinion, I want to make that very clear. This is just a fan perspective opinion that I think Jokic likes playing with AG more than he likes. It always feels like the Nuggets are forcing the ball to MPJ. When they're like running plays, it doesn't seem natural. When they run plays with Murray and Jokic, natural. Best two-man game in the NBA right now, right? When Jokic is playing in the low block with AG in that dunker spot, best two-man, and you know what I'm saying? Like, but anytime they try to do that pick and pop with MPJ, it almost seems like that as long as the defense rushes MPJ, he just gives up the ball. You know what I'm saying? So if he doesn't have a clear shot, he doesn't take the shot, and he doesn't have NBA dribbles right now. He's gotten better. He's gotten better. I know a lot of my Denver friends are going to be like, you hate on MPJ a lot. And it's like, well, this dude was a prospect to be a top 5 lottery pick at one point in time. And yes, because of his back injury that made him drop to the Nuggets, but he was still that prospect, and I don't see that. Like, I just don't see a lottery probably could go down as the greatest jump shooter of all time, could pass Steph Curry. Like, he's already the best Nuggets three-point shooter of all time, like, bottom line. And we've had some greats. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf was really, really, really good.
Alex
English was amazing. So we've had quite a few.
Lever.
We've had quite a few
yeah.
three-point shooters, but he's passed all of them in three-point shooting, like he has in percentage, in attempts, and in 3 points made. Okay. Now, granted, that era of basketball, the three-point wasn't as emphasized as it is in this day and age, but still, he's probably the best three-point shooter I've seen. Like, honestly, his jump shot is so pure. It almost, even when he misses horribly, the shot looks like it's going in. You feel me? Like, it looks so beautiful coming off his hand. Even when it misses the rim completely, it's just like, oh my God, that jump shot is so eloquent. Like, I don't even know how else to describe it. But if the Nuggets do want to make some moves, they are going to have to make some changes. If KCP picks up his option, I think the Nuggets stand fast and they run it back. Because they're not going to be able to make too many moves. They will have to, like, cut Reggie Miller, maybe keep him as a break glass like they did Ish Smith last year. But they're going to need – I personally want the Nuggets to target Kyle Lowry or I want them to bring back Monte Morris. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay, Monte Morris – he's the perfect backup for Murray. He's not going to demand the ball too much. He's not going to score you more than 10 points a night, but he's also not going to turn the ball over, right? He's going to run. He's already played in this offense, right? So he knows he played in this offense from his rookie season until his, 5th year in the league, until they had to trade him to Washington to get KCP, right? Because Will Barton was not the trading piece that Washington wanted. They wanted Monte Morris as their backup guard to go behind what's his name that plays in Phoenix now.
With Devin Booker?
No. What's his name? He plays in Phoenix now. Their shooting guard.
Oh, Bradley Beal.
Beal, yes, to back up Beal. Yeah, man, I'm drawing a blank. I'm like, dude, what is this boy's name? This man's name. He's a grown man.
I keep forgetting Phoenix don't have a point guard. They got 2 guards.
They got two shooting guards.
I was like, wow.
But he plays their point. That's what he plays. He plays their point. Right. But anyways, and he played point at in DC. He played point. Okay. So they basically wanted that dual threat, of Beal being like Murray, a scoring guard, right? Not really a defensive guard or a facilitative guard, even though Murray did, I believe, average about 6.5 assists this year. So he's gotten better in that aspect, but I digress on that point. But they wanted that dual, kind of like in football when you have the bruising back and then you have the speed back, right? And then you also have that change of pace back. They kind of wanted that when they traded for Monte Morris, because they didn't want Will Barton. They let him go rather quickly, and Will Barton's not that I don't even think he's in the league anymore, to be honest with you. He's not worth me looking up. I couldn't stand that dude when he was a Nugget. He thought he was Jordan, and he wasn't even like baby Jordan.
I thought that was gonna be your backcourt of the future.
Nah, not him.
With Murray and him.
Nah, not him. But I do see, like, let's say Monte comes back as the Nuggets, like, he doesn't turn the ball over. He's going to run the offense exactly the way Coach Malone wants it. He'll be able to, because he's a vet now, he's not a young guy. He's a vet now. He will be able to, and he has been shooting better. In Minnesota, he actually showed the Nuggets some stuff. You know, he played good minutes against the Nuggets. He can shoot the three. He does have a mid-game, and he can drive it to the rack. He's just a small guard. That's what most Nuggets fans keep holding on to when I bring up this Bring Monte Morris. They're like, he's small, he plays small. I'm like, yeah, but you don't need him to play big when you have excuse me, when you move Jamal Murray. Like, if Jamal's playing with the second team, right, you move him to the 2. You have Monte run the point, right? And then you have P-Watt and you have Brown playing. Now, I don't know what they're going to do with DJ. I know he's an unrestricted free agent this year. I don't think Najee. Now, that's who the trading piece. I know I'm all over the place, but that's who I think the trading piece is. I do not think it's MPJ. Neither one of them, or maybe both, neither one of them has really a tradable contract. That's the problem. Is nobody's going to want to pay the amount of, like, I think it's like $30 million, and don't quote me on that, but it's like $30, $40 million that MPJ slated to get this year, and nobody's going to want to pay that for just a jump shooter, right? He's played excellent. He's played really, really good defense this year. He got a lot better this year in leaps and bounds, but not enough to justify how much the Nuggets are paying him. I could, to your point, and like I said, I know I've gone all over the map, but to your point, or back to your point, I would not be surprised if they packaged MPJ and tried to get something, but I don't know what team.
Hey, I gotta give to you. I forgot what I asked you. That is, you just.
I didn't.
Because you came back to, I was like,
full circle, my guy, full circle.
Hey, that's a gift. I was like, you just reminded me what I asked you.
So, like, my bad.
Hey,
I get long-winded sometimes. We've had these conversations before.
But that was good. I forgot. I was like, dang.
Yeah, that is what you asked me.
Okay.
I will not be surprised if the Nuggets figure out a way to package him in some sort of way, but just know, Denver Nuggets fans that want MPJ gone, no team is just going to take him. Not to mention, any team that the Nuggets trade with are going to have to match his salary. That's the problem with trading him. Is, you know, it's kind of like when they traded Melo to New York. Why do you think New York had to empty their bench plus give like 3 draft picks to the Nuggets?
Felton Spencer.
I mean, they had to basically dump their entire bench and re-sign free agents because they had to match Melo's salary in order to make that trade, right? So, I wouldn't be shocked if it happened. I would be more shocked that they were able to make it happen. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they were shopping him around, though. That I wouldn't be surprised. Especially if they can, if they do shop him around, that gives incentive for KCP to actually stay, because if they are able to trade and offload MPJ, KCP can drop his player, but they could also give him more money.
Yeah, I just hope Paul George leave the Clippers though, but he already see the writing on the wall.
He hasn't won. How long has he been there, bruh?
5.
At least 5. At least 5.
Way off P.
And you wrong for that. They used to call him playoff P. Now not someone. Now it's way off P. Yeah, I got you. But the next big name that I think even the Lakers would be looking at is Klay Thompson.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
Because Russell is gone, right?
What a thing.
Oh no, he has a player option too, so he could stay.
He's willing to take a hometown discount.
Who is?
Well, not a hotel. Oh, well, I keep on thinking. I'm already think he's a Laker now.
Who, Clay?
Yeah, because his daddy Michael Thompson played with the Lakers.
That's true.
And the thing is, you got to understand, Michael Thompson is a big Laker fan. I mean, he still does his work with the organization. You know, I think he color commentator. But the thing is, he loved the Lakers, and he'll do that.
Man, I could see it happening. I mean, he is unrestricted.
He a Laker fan, grew up a Laker fan.
I do not think, even though Klay Thompson is leaving, or could leave, I do not believe that the Golden State Warriors are worried about it because they still have Gary Payton Jr., even though he is an unrestricted free agent or a restricted free agent this year too. I think they would target him.
Right,
because he's the younger version of Klay Thompson. Like, right. I mean, he's not as good of a jump shooter. Let's be real. Yeah. He's not as good as a jump shooter. But that defense there,
with the amount of money those three guys alone make it. Well, no, I say 4 because Chris Paul is making a good amount.
Well, Golden State needs to get bigger. That era of small ball that they created for the past decade is over.
Well, yeah, they're gonna change.
They have to get bigger. When they won the bulk of their championships, they were bigger. They had KD, they had Bogut. Bogut. Yeah, excuse me, Bogut. Bogut. Thank you. But they had bigger. They had size.
They had David West too.
They had size.
They had David.
They
West.
don't have that now. They have basically like, shooting guards.
They went real small.
Their biggest player is like Draymond Green, and he's a power forward.
No, don't they have Wiseman still, or did they trade him? Did
they still have Wiseman, but but I think Mo Bamba I think is about to dip too. Let's see, I think he's on this list too, but they need to get bigger regardless.
It's going to be interesting.
I could see them picking up. Remember we were talking off show about Valanciunas. I could see them picking. He actually fits their scheme more than he would the Lakers. I know we were talking about the Lakers possibly picking him up because he is unrestricted, so they could pick him up.
Yeah.
But like you said, he's not a shot blocker, but he does play defense. He's kind of like Jokic in that manner. They're not shot blockers, but they have active hands. Right? They clog lanes.
It all depends. Like I said, as far as the Lakers concerned, it all depends on June the 29th when LeBron James decide to whether to pick up his, his final year.
That's true.
Because it depends on where the organization move on from there. Because if he do leave, Anthony Davis going to request a trade.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I can't really.
Well, maybe he won't request a trade. Maybe because he gets to be the man.
Come on, man.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there, bro.
He don't even want to be the man.
He does want to be the man. He just doesn't want to put in the work to be the man.
He just
stop me when I'm wrong. He wants to be the man. Who doesn't want to be the man? He wants to be the man. He just doesn't want to put in the work that it takes. He wants to be the man. He wants to take all the credit, but he doesn't want to play a full game or a full series for that matter. Like, he wants stuff handed to him, and that's just not the way it works. But back to who the Lakers could target, because I see, besides LeBron, let's say LeBron does stay, okay? Let's say he does stay. Could they go after Paul George? Let's say LeBron, if they tell LeBron, like, hey, if you pick up your player option, we'll not only draft your son, we'll when Paul George doesn't pick up his player option, we'll sign him.
You gotta understand, he don't want
and let go of Russell.
He don't want to play. He don't want to play with LeBron.
Nobody wants to play with LeBron anymore.
The thing is, that's why I don't realistically seeing him go, playing with him.
You know what the craziest thing about this?
I could see him going to Philly.
Oh, I could see that too.
I can see him going to Philly.
I can see that too, but then they would have to completely rearrange that lineup to accommodate. But I could see that.
That'd be sick.
That'd be pretty dynamic.
Literally,
it would definitely boost their offensive game. Defensively, though, they would still be right at the same. Let's see. So I can see. What's crazy? I was gonna say. What's crazy about this? Because we talked about how this is like the year that if you're a playoff team or you're a team that's right there or a championship team.
Or you got 2 stars.
Yeah. You already have your core. You have your core already built.
Right.
You just need pieces in place. But
It's a lot.
There's a lot of 30-plus-year-olds in this, like LeBron, Paul George, Klay Thompson, Tobias Harris, James Harden, Pascal Siakam.
That'll work, though.
Gordon Hayward, Kyle Lowry.
That'll work, though.
Excuse me, DeMar DeRozan, Buddy Hield. I'm not going to say Evan Fournier. Well, I just said it, but he's not really a top tier.
If you one of these young teams like Minnesota and Sacramento and stuff, you want to get
even KCP's 31.
You want to get a couple of these 30-plus players.
Well, you have to. I mean, that's all that's out there, and these are experienced players. These aren't like, these are guys that you can plug in, and they've played in enough systems. I mean, most of these guys have played 10, 13 years in the league. Valanciunas is 32. Doug McDermott is 32. Robert Covington is 33. Nicholas Batum, 35. PJ Tucker is almost 40. That dude's 39 years old. Joe Ingles, 36. All great players. These are all really good players.
I would take a PJ Tucker.
I would take any of these guys.
He's an enforcer type.
Alec Burks is 32, almost 33.
Man,
I know he's been in the league for a long time.
Heard of him since Utah. Is he still in Utah?
Nah, he played for the Knicks this year, but I think he got hurt because they traded to get him, or they picked him up. Royce O'Neal, 30 years old. Kyle Anderson, 30 years old. Gary Payton II, 31. So really, he's not a much younger version than Klay Thompson. He's only 3 years younger than him.
Gary Payton's son is 31.
Yeah, almost 32, my guy. And he has a player option as well. So really, if they can convince him to pick up his player option, they can allow Klay to walk like they really could.
Yeah,
you're basically getting the same player because Klay hasn't been shooting like Klay of old, and you can get the same production that you have been getting out of Klay out of Gary Payton.
Well, Golden State, they're starting to begin to like downsize as far as like their salary because they can't keep because they already gave Draymond Green that big deal. They can't keep all those guys with and they didn't make the playoffs. So the thing is, what's the use of paying like 4 guys that amount of money? You know what I'm saying? But I don't know.
Everybody else though is under 30, and I would say on average is about 25, 26. So still, it's not just because you have all of these older players, you still have veterans like that are in their 26, 27-year-old, 7th, 8th, 9th. That's damn near prime years that these players have been in the league, including D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell's on there. He's 28, 9 years in the league. Yeah, he has an $18 million player option.
He's gonna have to get a sign and trade. I'd rather us to try to get something for him than just let him walk.
That's fair, but I don't think you're gonna get many suitors for him, man. Like
I was thinking,
just to be real, like if we're being real, he's not. It's kind of like MPJ, except for the fact that D'Angelo Russell's not. It's not because of his contract that he's untradeable. It's because of his play. Like when they played the Nuggets in round 1, man, he disappeared. He folded.
I mean,
except for one game.
And the thing is, he knows that.
He knows that. So does everybody else.
So the thing is, if I was D'Angelo Russell, I'll go to the Lakers and say, hey, man, if I can find somebody to take me, can we like do a deal?
Well, how would you feel about if OG Anunoby doesn't pick up his option with the Knicks? And do you think that would be a good pickup for the Lakers?
Yeah.
Yeah?
But I
nice small forward.
One team, yeah.
That's what he plays. He plays small forward. I mean, he could play power, but he's kind of wiry,
One team that's interested in D'Angelo Russell is the Raptors.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but they're not going to trade for him.
No, I mean he got to
he's got to drop his player option
and go
there. Like, there's no way they're going to pay $18 million to get him.
No.
Not after the trades they made last year. You can tell what direction Toronto's going in. They're not going to add $18 million to their salary when they just dumped. You know what I mean? Like That's the reason why they traded away Pascal Siakam. You know what I mean? He was making 34. That's why they traded away all them players. OG Anunoby. That's why they traded him. He was making, $18 million, and they wanted to clear the books. So, I can definitely see the Lakers. What about this name? Unrestricted free agent, small forward, but could probably play the 2 for your squad, DeMar DeRozan. With or without LBJ. Uh-oh, I stumped him, ladies and gentlemen. I finally got LP to be quiet. That is a first.
That would have been nice maybe 4 years ago.
Okay, I mean, he is about to be 35.
Yeah.
He's 15 years in the league, and he's probably going to cost you around $20 million, probably $30 million.
Compton native.
Hey. Could you imagine him and the Lakers actually landing him and Paul George to complete your back and then convince LeBron James?
That'd be just like the Clippers, man. Be like
I knew you was going to say that too.
4 over the
You got a bunch of whole geriatric
top 75 NBA top 75 players. Can't win in one game. Yeah, top 4 top 70.
Everybody got to take their pills before they take the court.
Get that insulin
Make sure
shot.
you take your medicines.
Hard to be like, hey, what, Russ, you got your insulin?
Save them blue ones for later.
I know.
Nah, you're right though, but I could see that being a pretty dynamic backcourt, with the exception of them being. I mean, DeMar DeRozan still plays at all-star level, like he really does. So does Paul George. It's just Paul George and Kyrie, or not Kyrie, excuse me. The Claw. What is that boy's name? Why can't I? Kawhi. Why couldn't I think of that grown man's full name? Anyways, I just don't
talk.
think.
That's why.
He's another LA native though, right? That's why he wanted to go to LA, and he from the Bay Area or something.
He said a Bay Area.
He's from somewhere. I mean, somewhere in Cali, I thought. And that's why he went to LA. But I just don't.
He is from Orange County.
Yeah, something like that.
He's Orange.
But I just don't think him and Paul George has worked out at all. And they've tried mixing and matching all kinds of good players around them, and they still haven't been able to pull anything. You are such a hater. You know that? I've never known somebody to be so hateful towards two teams. Just 2 teams this man can just despises. And that's Boston because they've won more than his team. And that's L.A. and the Clippers because they aren't the L.A. team. I don't know. What is your beef with the Clippers?
They always misspoke. No. Well, the thing is, they talk too much, man.
Who's they talk too much, man? What are you talking about, man?
The Clipper players. I don't even really got a beef with the 4 Clipper fans. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, man. The 4 Clipper fans?
They talk
Not the 4.
They talk too much, bro. The players. Talking about it's ours now. It's like, no, it's not y'all's. Now, 5 years later, it was never y'all's.
Yeah, well, they are the better team right now.
Ooh.
The Clippers.
No, what they gonna do with the top 4 greatest players in NBA history on their team?
Well,
man, they ain't gonna.
They are still they were a higher seed the past 2 years than your team. I can keep going.
They ain't better than us.
They are better than your team.
Better than us.
They are better than your team right now.
They ain't. Nope.
Right now.
Unless they hoisting up a championship. They
ain't hosting them no championships.
But
they still better than your team.
You can't know. We don't look at it that way.
No, you don't look at it that way.
You can beat me. Hey, you can beat me all you want. But unless you have anything to show that you beat me, like a championship,
man.
I don't see nothing. I don't see nothing but banners.
All right, what about Buddy Hield? You good with that? Shooting guard? You want Buddy Hield on the Lakers? Yeah, I'm just going to gloss right over what you just said. Yeah, you absolutely right, because that was the dumbest I've ever heard. That was just dumb as hell.
I don't think he's gonna want to come to the Lakers or anyway. I don't think he want to come to LA since.
Well, I can't believe he's 31 years old, man. Some
Yeah.
of these players I be thinking are young are old heads.
That's that Botox. Them guys, they getting that plastic surgery. Even Kobe, rest in peace, Kobe. He got, in his latter years, he got some work done in his face. A little skin lift and stuff.
Man, ain't
Yeah,
nobody thinking about that, man.
that's.
All right, man. On that note, we going to call it a day. Larry is obviously tripping.
I am.
Hopefully, the Nuggets and the Lakers do some stuff, make some moves this year so that we have something to cheer
Hey,
about.
bro, are we gonna talk about the Olympics next month?
Nah.
You don't like the Olympics?
Nah.
Man.
Nah, we'll talk about the Olympics. I like the Olympics.
I
just
don't
don't
talk about because I just seen some. It just came up right now with the little 5 little circles.
You mean the rings?
Yeah.
You mean the rings? The Olympic rings? That's what the Olympic circles now.
Yeah, we gotta go.
All right, that's going to do it for the Sports Fiends this week, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to come down to 4300 West Alameda at Sohai Cafe. Get you some barbecue from Vinny, Viper Pit Barbecue. Get them burnt ends, get them ribs, and don't forget to try the homemade mac and cheese. Tell them the Sports Fiends sent you. On behalf of myself and everybody that works on this show, thank you very much for watching, and we will catch you next week. Peace.
Welcome to the Sportz Phenz Show. The show where, just like you, we can't get enough sports.
That was funny.
And the Denver Broncos have taken Super Bowl 50.
The Avalanche are 2022 Stanley Cup champions. And a shot into the back of the net for Diego Rubio.
Now here's your hosts, Arthur Knight, Larry Perkins, and Austin Sorensen.
1-0 Rapids.